Hey, what's good, y'all? This is Luke Dunlap, host of Tipped Off. Having a pretty bad hair day. Went to the gym today. Didn't really see many people at all today. So I kind of went on my hobo phase, just kind of chilling. We're growing a beard out. So, I'm already in my bad phase of growing a beard. So, my face isn't looking the best. So I was like, you know what? My hair, it'll be alright. And then I decided, let's get on camera and talk about the NBA Finals. And then I realized my hair was screwed up. So I hopped in the shower, took a shower trying to fix things. And sure enough, my hair is just saying no today. So we got the hat on, repping the 2018 championship. I tried to find my 22 hat, but ultimately couldn't find it and couldn't be bothered enough to find it, as much as that was my favorite championship out of the run. 2018, yeah, but we're not talking about the Warriors today. We're talking about the finals. We had the Thunder finally stopping the Pacers' hot streak for now. Big emphasis on for now. This series is not over. They tied it up 1-1, winning 123-107 over the Indiana Pacers, which is so weird because, as everyone says, it's the biggest gimme in all of NBA analysis. If you need something to fill the time spot on your podcast, radio show, whatever, just say role players play better at home, because let's be real, that is just an overwhelming fact. You can't deny that. It's a pretty safe thing, and it's pretty long to say, and you can cover it for a while, but that was so true here. Looking at the stats right now, Alex Caruso off the bench had 20. Aaron Wiggins showed up having 18, which these guys are dogs in their own right, don't get me wrong, but Alex Caruso outscored J-Dub and Chet Holmgren. And Chet actually came to play tonight, backing up 15, 6, and 1, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. SGA had his usual game, 34, 8, and 5. Yeah, that's to be expected. He's a dog. Yeah. And then J-Dub came to play as well, and that was the big X factor, and that's what's going to be the big X factor, is if the role players come to play, because this team is very young, very inconsistent at times, other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And the team needs to show up when it matters, It's the finals. It's the last stretch. You just got to play out just 3 more games, 3 more games of these 3 guys coming to play. And if they don't, well, I'm just going to say it, Pacers in 7. That's my initial take. That's my hot take. I really want the Pacers to win, and I think they can pull through. Now, not like this, though. The thing is, everybody played decent on paper. Looking at the stat sheet, Miles Turner had 16. He played a great game. I'll get into him. Halliburton had 17. Nembhard 11. Pascal Siakam 15. Aaron Nesmith 14. Mathurin 14. TJ McConnell 11. On paper that seems okay. But if you watch the game, they had lazy defensive transitions. They had lots of lazy passes, risky passes. Halliburton at one point threw, I think it was in the third quarter, threw a cross-court pass again to, I believe it was intended for either Turner or Siakam, and they were completely covered up by Ihart. And you know what happened? They threw it out of bounds. It's stuff like that. You can't have that in a finals matchup. They had less turnovers in the game 2 than they did game 1. Granted, they had 15 turnovers and OKC had 13. That's a lot better than 24-6. But it's not about the stats this game. This game, it was about not coming to play on the defensive end. And that's how you beat Oklahoma City. That's how OKC beats you, is coming at the defensive end. And that's exactly what they did. They pulled up on defense. They decided to lock in and get those turnovers, force those turnovers. And granted, they forced less, 15 and 24. But those turnovers, they scored off of. And that's not something that happened in game 1. And if you want me to be real, it's because they got lucky that no one else but Shai came to play game 1. Now, Halliburton, with that buzzer beater, I'm not discrediting game 1 Pacers, That game was, I still think it'll be a hardwood classic to this day. But you can't rely on that type of black magic luck to get you through the entire series, especially against OKC. And that's what they relied on tonight, and it just did not happen. They let up a little bit on the gas, which, granted, it's 1-1. If there's a game you want to let up on, it's game 2 when you've already taken one game at their place. But this is the finals. You don't want to take your foot off the gas ever. Now, if this was round 2 of the playoffs, or even round 1, or even the conference finals, any non-finals game in the playoffs, sure, I wasn't panicking when the Warriors went down 1-1 against Minnesota. I wasn't panicking when they lost game 2 against Houston at home or at Houston, but that's because that's early on in the playoffs where stakes aren't as high. The lights are bright here, and you got to be able to shine in it. You can't hide away. You can't do what Obi Toppin did tonight on 19 minutes. Give them 3, 2, and 5. You can't. You just can't. And that's ultimately what costed them. I mean, you got Ben Shepherd on 14 minutes, 3 and 1. Thomas Bryant on 12 minutes, 1 and 1. Just not a great game from the role players, and I think that's something that will change going into the games 3 and 4, which will be at Indiana, because like I said earlier, role players play better at home. This is just a known fact. We see it over and over and over again. But the thing is, the Thunder are now, I believe, what is it? What's the stat? 26 and 2, 29 and 2 against Eastern Conference teams. Now, granted, one of them was the game 1 loss, but that's still just the stats say that, you know. And if you're the Pacers, you're shooting 14 for 40 on 3-pointers, shooting 35%. Now, granted, OKC shot 14 for 36. That's 39%. But that 4% made a whole lot of a difference, you know? Like, I guess not, honestly, because they both made 14. But the thing is, they did not get to the line as much as the Thunder did. Thunder shot 29 for 33 on the Pacers, 19 for 26. And what's even funnier, 88% free throw, 73% free throw, which is kind of weird because towards the end of the game, it seemed like half the game was just Pascal Siakam. Half the third quarter was just Pascal Siakam at the free throw line, if I'm being honest. Yet they only shot 26 and they made 73%. You can't have that, you know? And I think, if I'm being real, the Thunder have great bigs. They have great bigs. And here's where I'm going to talk well about the Pacers. I'm going to talk good about the Pacers here. I'm not just going to be a generational hater because I really do like the Pacers and I want them to win this series. But enough being critical, I want to go into some positive things I saw. And the big lineup of Turner and Siakam, in this game, more so Turner. But in the past, Siakam and Turner are going to be a major part of whether or not the Thunder can win this. Or I guess the Pacers can win this. Because, yes, the Thunder have arguably the biggest front court in the league in Holmgren and Ihart, which Ihart has been pushed to the bench in place of Case and Wallace, going for more of a small ball lineup, which I can understand where Daganol is coming from here. But I don't know. I like that idea, honestly. You know, I don't have any complaints. I like Hartenstein coming off the bench and propelling the second stringers of Caruso, Wiggins, Williams, Isaiah Joe, and all them, getting them where they need to be and getting the momentum going. I like that. I really do. But the Pacers have Miles Turner, and he played so well, especially towards the beginning. He came out swinging, you know. They've been saying this all, like, for the first 2 games. They've been saying no one is more happy to be here than Miles Turner, and he's showing it, you know. Now, the stat sheet say he was only 16, 4, and 4. However, whenever you watch the game, you notice things. Like, you notice those little things, like his aggression on his screens, like his rolls are much faster than I saw out of anyone else, really. His situational awareness, like his spacing was borderline perfect. He didn't hit many shots tonight, but he was getting to where he was getting to where he shoots best. And he knows himself and he knows his teammates, and he got he got Halliburton going late. And he helped out Nembhard, setting up his isolations off the screens, you know. And Siakam kind of helped him a little bit with the front court spacing. You had pretty much every time, and didn't matter the lineup, Turner was at it. And I think that's kind of aging like fine wine, because my take at the beginning of the series was Pacers are going to take it 7 because of Miles Turner and his aggression and his defense, along with his offensive presence on his presence on the boards, offensive and defensive. In game 1, they had a lot of offensive rebounds, but in this game, not much. They got outboarded. They got outboarded by OKC in this game. And you just can't have that, especially in the finals. These rebounds are so necessary. That is why, like, this isn't newsflash. This isn't 2016. This isn't 2018 even. This isn't 2020. Small ball is out the window because of these generational foreign talents that are just like 7 foot, 7'5", all this. Maybe not even foreign talents. Like, just the bigs are coming out once again, and it's feeling more and more like early 2000s, late 90s basketball. Now, in terms of aggression and stuff and the officiating, that's one thing. But in terms of what you need to win in a team, it's a mixture. It's kind of like how the Magic did their logo, a mix of the old and the new. You need the depth of the new age, but you need the bigs and the presence of the old. You need that star power in your big lineups. You need that depth in like your Alex Caruso's, your Cason Wallace's, your Aaron Wiggins's, your like heck your Obi Toppins. Like both of these teams have deep rosters. And in the past, you didn't really need this deep of a roster, but nowadays, that's the formula. And this year, it seems like in the past few years as well, it seems like you now need to have a good front court as well. The front court meta is coming back, and I'm here for it. And this series is really showing that. We see a lot of reliance on like Chet Holmgren coming to play. If he doesn't come to play, they don't do too hot. And if he comes to play like he did tonight, just even like a little bit, they win by a decent margin. Same thing goes for the other end, Like Siakam throughout the entirety of the Knicks series, throughout the entirety of that, he was just that presence in the front court, shutting down anyone, and no one could shut him down. That's the thing. Karl Towns on the Knicks. Like Julius Randle and all. Well, Randle didn't come to play too much in the conference finals. That front court, and that's a big reason why they lost. That even proves my point even more. Because the front court of the Timberwolves didn't come to play. The front court of the Thunder sure did, and guess what? Thunder in 5. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series. I think this is going to come back to Oklahoma City tied 2-2, and I think the Pacers steal one on the road. I think the Pacers steal Game 5, and I said Pacers in 7, but honestly, I could see it going 6. I could see them taking it in Indiana. We'll have to see what happens. But as for today, I'm just going to call it here. It's going to be a mini pod. I just had to cover these 2 games because this finals has been absolute peak already. I don't know about peak, but it's been really good to watch. And I think it's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And last little thing. Now, you can say here or there about the officiating of this season, but the officiating of this finals so far is actually not bad. I love making I don't believe that SGA. I don't believe in free throw merchant, as I've said, but I love making jokes like, well, look who's at the line. But I can't even make jokes like that this series, because despite the lineup of refs, I know for one thing, when I saw Scott Foster announced as one of the refs, I kind of just facepalmed. I was like, well, we're about to watch a free throw contest. But no, it actually worked out really well. And so far in these first 2 games, they've been letting the boys play. I know a lot of plays in these first 2 games that had they been regular season games, they would have been at the line 12 times over. But they're letting the boys play, and I love that for this final series. I hope it keeps up like this. I hope they don't change anything. And they've been listening to an extent. You can tell. You really can tell. I mean, even with the minor things, like today, I texted my old math teacher. Shout out him. He's a Thunder fan, but I saw, because we was talking about the logo thing. It's been what fans have been complaining about over and over and over, was the logo. Like, the court looks like a regular season court. We need to have something there. Like, back in the day, they used to have the Larry O.B. just plastered in the center with the logo of the home team, And even in 2015, 2014 and stuff like that, they'd have the finals logo on the I guess, I don't know how to describe it, but it wouldn't be in the front court. It'd be in the bottom left and top right of both sides, and it would say the finals in cursive. That was pretty cool. We saw none of that Game 1, but in Game 2, the league listened to an extent. They gave us little graphics of a very small Larry O'Brien trophy on the bottom left and top right, and then they'd switch it to a finals presented by YouTube TV. It wasn't plastered on the court, but it was plastered on the cameras to make it look like he was on the court, like they do those advertisements. I'm just glad that it's a step in the right direction. we'll take it. For now, this has been Luke Dunlap on Tipped Off. I'm really enjoying how things are going, and I hope we just keep going, you know? Peace, y'all.